Hi, everyone. We are here today to talk about the Philippine election coming up, which may sound like an interesting topic given it's in the Philippines and not in Canada, but it is an election that has a huge impact on a lot of residents of Nipua. So today I'm here talking to Ron and Laarni Santos about the election, the impact on citizens, and how it all works. So welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Rain.
So let's just go down to the basics. We are talking about the Philippine election. When is it happening? What is happening?
Okay. So the Philippine elections, everyone is excited because it will be happening this May 2022. So most Filipinos, they are looking forward for that. And even here in Canada, if you see the social media, everything will gonna say, oh, it's election day. There are some people who keeps on debating who is the best president. They give their opinions, everything.
Yeah.
Who will be the next president to sit for these coming elections.
So is this a regular election like on a schedule, or is it like in Canada where we call the election at a certain time, or how does this work?
Yeah, for the president and vice president, they have their 6 years term.
6 years.
Yes,
Okay.
that's right. So every 6 years we have a presidential election. They call it sometimes national election.
Okay.
So they will choose one president and one vice president and senators and member of the House of Representatives and down to local, provincial,
It's all on the same day.
all in the same day this year.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it always on the same day? Like, is it always every 6 years, or?
Because this is what we call this coming election, this is what we call the national general election.
Okay.
So when you say national general election, this will be, you will choose the president, vice president, the senators, the Congress, all the way down to local and
Okay.
provincial. When you say local, you have to choose because from us, you have to choose your governor, your vice governor. You have the mayors and the city councilors. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So absolutely everything.
Yes,
on the same day.
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah, from the
everything
same
from
day.
president down
Down
to
to-
That's a lot of
For
choices to
councilors.
make in
Yes.
one day.
That's
Yes.
right.
No wonder
that's
there's
right.
so much conversation about this.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Um, so one of the reasons that I became aware of the election, I think a lot of people in Nipua became aware of it, is because of social media, because of so much conversation going on, not
right.
necessarily in English, which makes us very curious to
Yes.
what is being talked about.
Yeah.
So without making this all about, who is running in the election, what are the main candidates for president?
There are five candidates vying for president.
Okay.
The first one is Bongbong Marcos, former Senator Bongbong Marcos.
Okay.
The second one is Senator Manny Pacquiao. The third is Senator Panfilo Lacson. And the fourth one is Manila City Mayor Isko Moreno and the Vice President Lenny Robredo.
Okay. And I have someone who's told me about this before. Marcos is actually a relation of the previous president. Is that right?
Yes, because the one who is running now for the president is the former son of the president of the Philippines, who sits office as a president for 20 years.
Right.
Yes.
Which is why we were all kind of, even me
yeah.
and people in Canada were familiar with the name, I think. So this is, I think, much like in Canada and the States and anywhere else, politics kind of runs in the family.
Yes, that's right. If you heard the news, it's people is just like Senator Manny Pacquiao. He's running for president. Yeah, he's known all over the world. He's a boxing champion, right?
Yeah.
And he's running for president. And of course, Bongbong Marcos, former Senator Bongbong Marcos. Yeah, he's the son of the late President Ferdinand E. Marcos. Yeah.
So when you say it runs in the family, because the Marcoses, so down from the Marcos is the Bongbong Marcos' mom used to be governor of Ilocos in the region.
Okay.
So, and then the sister of Bongbong Marcos as well. So they are all in politics.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's
So it runs in their blood. At the same time, Bongbong Marcos' son is also running as one of the
Oh, one in like the lower level.
yeah, the lower
kinda-
level in their province.
House of Representatives.
Yeah, so
Okay.
he's running for House of Representatives in their province. So
Wow. So you said there's 5 candidates for president.
Yes, that's
yes.
right.
Now, one of the interesting things that I learned, actually, I think from you guys when we talked about this before,
Yeah.
is that the president and vice president, they don't run together. They can be from different political parties. They can be
Yes.
completely.
Yes, that's right.
So how many are running? Do you know how many are running for vice president?
For now, I know is that they have 5 as well.
Okay.
For the vice president, I'm not so
Yeah.
sure if there are some who will back out because there are some times you can withdraw your.
Oh, you can withdraw.
Yeah, you can
Anytime.
withdraw anytime
Anytime.
you're.
So has the time limit passed to enter the election though? Has that passed?
yes,
Okay.
it's passed already.
Okay, so you can
yeah.
withdraw, but no one else will be entering these races at
Yes,
this
yeah,
point.
it's done already because if you file your certificate of candidacy and then there's a certain period that you cannot that you can no longer file your candidacy if
Okay.
you want to run for president or vice president.
And so are these people members of political parties as we understand them here? Are they running independently? How does that work in that situation?
Philippines, because we have like we are multi-party system. We have numerous political parties. Like for
Yeah.
example, I think we have more than 20. So,
Okay.
but for those, like they are independents as well. For this, there are 3 major parties like majority. There are minor parties.
Yeah.
There are some who will call regional parties.
Yeah.
So for those political parties, we have what we call the major one is out of those parties, we have 5 major parties.
Okay.
But out of those 5 parties, it's a little bit complicated, Out of those 5 major parties, we have 2 major parties who are running for this, who will be vying for the the administration and the opposition coalition for the coming election.
Okay.
Yes. So for that political party, we have the National Democratic Party and the Liberal Party. The National Democratic Party is the one who is under the government, and then the Liberal Party is the opposition party.
Okay. And even though the names sound similar,
Yeah.
completely different parties from Canada.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Just to add on that, even if you don't have a party, you can run independently.
Okay.
If you have the tools or you have
Yeah.
everything, you can run even if you don't have you can run independently.
Yeah.
So I think in that sense, and having the multi-parties and stuff, it's something that we can relate to
Mm-hmm.
from voting in Canada as well. That we do have that sort of,
Yeah.
even though the system is completely different.
Yes.
We
It's
have
different.
that multiple. We don't have just have 2 parties. We have that multiple party system.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Here in Canada, it's different, right? Because we have a federal election. So we have
Yeah.
4 major parties: the
Yeah.
Liberal, the Conservative, the National Democrat, NDP, and the Green.
Yeah.
The Green Party, right?
And then regionally, you will find other ones that
Yeah.
are stronger as well.
Yes.
So yeah, we do kind of understand that kind of system.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that makes it so important to us here is that there are a lot of people living in Ipu'a who will be voting in selection.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So how does that work when you're voting from Canada? How does that whole system work?
For that, because prior to the election, like this coming May is the election. Last year, they are giving some information to the consulate, to the embassies all over the world. So they will give this information that this is the coming election, general election. So they will give you the link on how to register, because this is what they call overseas absentee voting.
Okay. Yeah.
So for that overseas absentee voting, if I am a permanent resident of Canada and I'm still, I have to exercise my suffrage to vote, you have to follow that link, you have to register.
Okay.
The moment you register, the consulate will gonna give you, like here, if you are living in a rural, in a small community, like in Nipawa, after you register on the consulate or the embassy, they will send you this ballot. This ballot. Okay, so you have to fill up all those forms, give it back to them, send it back to them. That's how.
Okay. So
you're
the
going.
registration now, this has already passed. This has already happened.
Yes, it's
I think
already
it's
passed.
last
It's
year.
last year.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So anyone who didn't know about it last year, they can't
They can't.
register to vote now.
Yeah, because the challenge for that, like for example, they already send those information,
Yeah.
and then when you look into their website, they will just say, "Oh, it's done already." Because
Yeah.
it's kind of frustrating, if I'm a permanent resident, I wanted to vote for the president
Or
and
even
vice-
a temporary foreign
yeah,
workers.
and,
right?
and TFWs, so
Yeah.
temporary foreign workers,
So
they
they can-
really wanted to vote. It's frustrating sometimes because they miss that opportunity.
Yeah.
Like for example,
And that
if
seems like a big gap between
Yeah.
registration and the actual election as well.
Yeah, there's a big gap because because they are sending all these ballots
Yeah.
and then from Philippines to Canadian embassy or consulate,
Yeah.
from consulate to a certain place like Manitoba.
Yeah.
So
And there is no consulate in Manitoba, is that right?
none.
Have
We
they
have like a consulate here, but in Winnipeg, but doesn't have they don't have the rights to do all of those things. Like so,
Okay.
what
Oh,
happened
okay.
is that Philippine consulate in Winnipeg, they have to go through Toronto consulate Toronto.
So it's a very convoluted process to try and
it's
register
long.
then.
Yeah, it's a very long process as well.
Or to do really a lot of things probably.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you know why there isn't a consulate, like a permanent consulate in Manitoba?
Before we have that,
I
like
think so, yeah.
2000, like
Before.
2000, when Julie arrived here, like 2010, 2012, we have that consulate here in Winnipeg actually, but there are some, there
Changes,
there are
maybe.
some changes, there are some, some issues, there are
Yeah.
some problems that happen, so they remove all those things here in Winnipeg.
Probably
so-
they just put it in big
Yeah,
cities,
so,
right?
yes,
Like Toronto, maybe.
yeah.
Yeah.
They put it in Toronto.
Which just seems strange to me just because there are so many people from the Philippines in Manitoba now, whether as, temporary foreign workers, permanent residents, citizens.
Yeah,
The population is increasing, so it just
Yes.
seems
correct.
it must be very frustrating to not have that.
Yeah,
here.
in Winnipeg, especially now, like Nipoa, we're growing.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah, we need lots of staffs. We need lots of staffs for consulate. That all the services, we need all those services. But it's frustrating to know that we don't have that here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now for the election, how does the information, do you get a lot of it online, or how does the information about the elections, about the candidates come to local residents?
For that, it's online.
Yeah.
So you can see that online, and then all the other informations, if you look into social media, everything is there.
Whether you want it to be or not.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. So
Yeah.
you know
It's only
there's an election in the Philippines. Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
know already
Because of the social media.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting to me just because the first time that I voted, I was actually living in the Philippines and voting in Canada. And now we're in the reverse situation where people
Yeah.
living in Canada voting in the
Okay.
Philippines.
Yeah.
So I kind of understand a little bit about what it's
Mhm.
like to try and to navigate that system.
Oh, okay.
It can be challenging.
Yeah,
Yeah,
correct.
that's right. Yeah.
So now, a lot of people, and I don't know this, maybe you can tell me, when someone becomes a citizen in Canada, do you get dual citizenship? Can you still vote in both countries? Is that what a lot of people are doing, or do you know?
If you like for us,
Yeah.
we are Canadian citizens, and then if we choose to become to be a dual citizen, so if we are Canadian citizen and we wanted to be a Filipino citizen as well, so we have to apply for dual citizenship.
Right.
So for dual citizenship, you have the right to vote.
Right.
So you can vote. But if you vote, like if here, permanent resident, Canadian citizen, if you will vote, you can only vote for the overseas absentee voters. You can only vote for president, vice president, and senators.
Right.
So that's the only thing that you can vote.
And
Aside
the
from
party
that,
list, I think.
yeah, and the party list.
Party
So
list.
aside from that, you cannot vote for the lower, like
Right.
the
And that's probably because you
governors.
don't actually have a residence in the
Yes,
Philippines anymore.
Yes,
That's
So
yeah,
right.
that's
Yeah.
right.
Yes.
Yeah. So
So what do you think are some of the main differences between the government systems from the Philippines to here that might be challenging for some people to kind of understand or use?
Yeah. Here in Canada, there's a different form of government. It's a federal form of government,
Yeah.
right? But in the Philippines, it's a presidential form of government. So the choosing a leader is different because in the Philippines it's a popular vote.
Yeah.
Who gets the highest vote?
That's it.
That's it. He's the
Yeah.
winner.
Yeah.
Not like in Canada, even you get the popular vote if you are not win on the what do you call that?
Oh yeah, you can get
Yes,
because
that's
of the
right.
party system.
Party
It's,
system. That's right.
yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So, yeah, it's a popular vote in the
Yeah.
Philippine election.
And adding to that, because the first time that we vote in here, it seems like so you just go to the polling precinct.
Yeah.
So you will just go there, and then you will just show your identification, and then they will give you this ballot, and then you will just go to that back screen, right? So you
Yeah,
have to. They will
exactly.
tell you.
Yeah.
Cross.
That's our
this-
whole process.
Yeah,
It's
that's
very
the-
you get a pencil and a piece of paper.
Yeah.
This is our process.
Yeah. So they will just tell you, okay, just
Yeah.
cross it out, and that's it.
Yeah, it's very
It's so
systematic. It's very easy
Yeah.
if you vote here in Canada, just like
It's
when
different.
So
Right.
in the Philippines, then what would it be like?
In the Philippines, like for example, if I'm eligible voter, so what we will gonna do during the time of election? So you will go to your voting precinct,
Yeah.
go and check your name if it is there,
Mm-hmm.
and then if your name is on that polling precinct, you have to queue in line so that they will check your identification. At the same time, they will give you the ballot.
Right.
The moment you are on that precinct, you have to fill up, you have to sit, you have a table, and then you have to fill up there's the form, the ballot. So on that form, you have to shade the oval before
Okay.
the president's name on all the
Yeah.
candidates' names. So you have to shade that one. And then after you finish that one, we have that we call the electronic, the electronic automation. They will
Okay.
put it there, they will scan, and then your vote is counted.
Okay.
That's the process in the Philippines. So, but that is 2010.
Right.
But way back when, same procedure, but we don't have this
Right.
automation. So they will just count it by hand,
by hand,
manually.
manually.
Right. And that's not just counting one.
Yes.
If it's everyone all the
Everyone.
way down.
That's right. So from president, vice
Yeah.
president, and there
Yes.
are 12 senators.
Yeah.
And of course, you vote for your House of Representatives.
And all of your
Mhm.
local
Oh.
elections.
Local, the governor, the vice governor, down to mayor and councilors, right? So lots of
Yeah, and they will put after you finish voting, they will put an ink. The blue
Okay.
ink here. That
Yeah.
means you already voted.
So you can't go back and vote again.
Yes.
that's right.
That's the only way that they
Prevention
know.
for the
Wow,
flying
okay.
waters.
Yeah.
You put an ink in your.
Yeah.
You cannot remove it for how
Yeah, you
many
can.
days.
Yeah.
For how many days you cannot remove it?
That's right.
You know what? If it worked, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
That
right.
seems like it's a system that would work.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's maybe one of the biggest differences then is when you actually physically go to the polls here, you're voting for one, maybe two things. You
Yes,
know,
that's right.
and
So-
you're only doing, if you're doing the national, you're doing the national. If you're doing the
Yeah.
provincial, you're doing the provincial. If you're doing the municipal, you're doing the municipal.
Yeah. Yeah.
It happens only this year, including the local,
Yeah.
the provincial election, because the provincial election is only, their term is only 3 years.
Okay.
From governor down to the councilor, municipal councilor.
Okay.
So their term is only 3 years.
So really, there's an election every 3 years. It's just not a presidential election.
Yes, no.
Yeah.
That's right. So it's happened this year that it's the end of the term of the president and vice president and 12
Yeah.
senators.
I mean, it must seem then like in Canada, we're going to the polls very often because one year it'll be national and then it'll be provincial and then
Yes.
it'll be
Yeah.
municipal. And
Yeah.
every year you're going to vote for something, I think.
It seems like it's much easier, and then it's very systematic.
That's true. Yeah.
It's very systematic compared to the Philippines. It's long ballot, and then
list,
you have to
yeah.
shade
Although
everything.
I think, and I may be wrong about this, I shouldn't speak authoritatively, but I think it's very similar in the United States where you're voting for a lot of things at the same time.
Mhm.
You're voting for your president, and you're
President.
voting for your representatives, and you're
Yeah.
voting, I think you're voting for your sheriff, you're voting for your, things like your school boards, everything.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think that is similar in that way where you're voting for multiple
Yes.
things at once rather than here
Oh.
where it's, again, one, maybe two.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I think in municipal, you're voting for your council and your school board, I think is what it is. So
Yes.
there's a couple
Yeah.
things, but that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mentioned that because there is actually this October an election for town council.
All right.
So yeah, you'll be at the polls again
Yeah,
this year.
will be,
Yeah, every 4 years, right? For the mayor and town council.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
And that's across the province. They all do it at the same time.
Yes,
So
that's right.
so that is this year. So that's coming up too.
Yes.
Okay.
So I think another thing that I maybe didn't talk about earlier,
Mhm.
and why people would want to, while they're living here, permanent resident, planning to become citizens, why they would want to continue voting in the Philippines, is these are elections that affect a lot of people's families. Is that, do you think that is a major concern for a lot of people who are wanting to vote in this election? Is how it'll affect their families?
Yes, because in the Philippines, if there's an election, so we're always wanted, to have a, better, better life. So we wanted for a change. Like if we sit for that president, so it's a better change. So we're looking forward, like for example, free from crimes, drugs, unemployment. So because those are among the issues and problems that continue to bother the Philippines. So
Yeah.
they really wanted to exercise. They really wanted to exercise their
Yeah.
Participate.
to participate on that vote. Yeah. So those are the concerns that they are, especially because permanent residents here, TFWs, they really wanted to have a better life for their family.
Yeah.
Aside from, because they are sending monies in the Philippines, aside from that, they really wanted, they are very optimistic that there are some changes if this government has some, new president or new
Yeah.
vice president. So that's,
So it still affects a lot of people.
yeah.
Even if they are here permanently now, it still has a huge effect on their lives.
Yeah, that's right. And I just want to add on that. Yeah, it concerns all the Filipinos, not only in Canada or in Nepal, it's all over the world.
Of course, yeah.
Because they want to choose their leader, president, to run the country, so that the family will have a better life, having a good job. So they don't need to go to the other countries to have a job. It's hard for the Filipino to leave their family just to get a job in other countries.
Absolutely.
It's
Yeah.
lots of what do you call that, challenges, and it's hard for the Filipino to away from their family just to get a job and
Yeah.
give a better living life for their family.
Yeah. And I think I wouldn't be wrong to say that there are people who have moved to Canada with their families.
Yes.
If things had been different, the Philippines never would have left.
Yes.
Yes.
They would have
that's right.
preferred to stay.
Yeah, but some
Absolutely.
they are some guys, some Filipinos, they made that choice to go
Yeah.
to Canada and to have a better life for their family. And for me, I made that choice
Yeah.
to come here in Canada, and the sacrifices that I made, 18 months, almost 2 years that I'm separated from my wife Laarni and my son. That's lots of
So, yeah.
sacrifices,
Yeah.
but it's worth the sacrifices.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you are like an ordinary employee in the Philippines, even though both of you are working in a government, so you're a government employee,
Yeah.
but your salary is not that enough,
Yeah.
to suffice all your needs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
and you're lucky if you get a job. And some of the people, they don't have
Yeah.
they don't have jobs, so they don't have choice
yeah.
but to go to other countries and
Yeah.
get a job. Yeah.
I think that there's probably like maybe a bigger gap between the wealthy and the not wealthy than there is
Yes.
here.
Yeah, yeah. There's a very big
Although
gap.
there's still a gap here. No, don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
But
yeah, there's a gap. There's always a gap.
Yeah.
If you are rich, you become richer. If you
Yeah.
are poor, you become more poorer. So
Yeah.
that's the reason why they really wanted to have this president. Oh, this is the one. So we
Yeah.
have to vote this president because he gave us the opportunity to
Yeah.
a better country.
And there's certainly a very much an emotional connection to that as well, even if you're not planning to move back,
Yes.
to make it a better place.
Yes.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
right.
That's right.
Yeah.
So is there anything else that you wanted to sort of share with me today or help me understand about the upcoming election, about the system, or any of that?
One thing more, just to give you some ideas, because if you are voting in the Philippines,
Yeah.
so normally all schools are closed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, compared in here, because that's
Yeah.
what it's when the first time that I vote in here, all
Yeah.
I thought is just okay, or is all the schools are closed. The reason why for that is that
Yeah.
they are using the schools as the polling
Right.
precinct.
Yeah.
All over the country, it's all the schools are closed.
Yeah.
So because they are using that for the polling,
Which makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
And at the same time,
The teachers.
the teachers are the one who is they are the polling watchers as well. They are
Oh,
the one
okay.
handling all the teachers.
Yeah.
So that is their job to do
Yeah.
that. And then every party, they have their representative as a poll watchers.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Every party. So it seems
Even
like
the small parties.
yes,
Okay.
yes. So it seems
Yeah.
like it's very crowded on
Yeah.
that place because everybody has their own poll watchers
Yeah.
as well. And aside from that, the campaign period. So all the presidents, including the lower one, like president, vice president to the lower, they have their campaign. So they have their caravans. So when
Right.
you
Yeah.
so when you say caravans, there's the president, and then I have my running mate with me. So we will go to different places. Just
Yeah.
the way you have to vote us because so they
So they're still campaigning right up until.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are they allowed to, even when people are voting, are they allowed to still campaign, or are they prohibited from campaigning while people are voting?
they are not allowed already during the voting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's the same
it's-
as here
it's-
then.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
it's no longer.
Yeah.
Supposed to be, it's not yet the start of campaign period.
Mhm.
But
Right.
you can hear
But-
lots of news now since last year, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
well, that's just it,
I
right?
think it's next month is the start of campaign period.
Technically,
I
yeah.
think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But everyone, yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, people have been talking about this for months already.
yeah,
Yes.
everybody is excited about
Yeah.
this upcoming election.
Yeah. Is there
Yeah.
anything sort of special about this upcoming election, or is it just? I mean, are people anticipating a big change?
I think so because they choosing for a new president again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're hoping they will vote. We're hoping to Filipinos vote for a good president
Yeah.
to run the country for the better life of the Filipino people. Yeah.
And the previous president's not running. Are they allowed to run again?
No.
It's only one term for the
One
president.
term. Okay.
One.
Even for the vice president.
Just one term.
Just
One
one
term.
term.
Yeah. One
Yeah.
term for them.
But
So-
down to locals,
They can still
3 terms,
3
Okay.
terms for them.
but only for 3 years.
Yeah.
3 years,
Right,
3
right.
terms. So they have 9 years.
9 years.
But for president, you get your one
Just
shot,
one.
and
Just
so no
one
matter
shot.
what happens, there will be a change
Yeah,
with
that's
this
right.
election. So
But for the president, he can after he finish his
His term.
term, he can run for the lower
Lower.
position.
right, okay, so that makes sense. Yeah.
That's right. He can run for vice president or
Yeah.
Or senators or
senator.
maybe-
Do they often do that, or do they? Okay.
They do that.
Yes,
They
Yeah.
do that.
the former president Gloria Macapagal Arroyo.
Mhm.
Yeah.
She's a congresswoman now, member of
Yeah.
the House of Representatives
Okay.
Yeah.
of Pampanga.
So you usually see it going the other direction, where
Up
people
and then-
become,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
they're
Yeah.
sort of
That's
once
right.
they have become, prime
Yeah.
minister, president, whatever.
Yes.
Yes,
They sort of, that is the highest pinnacle of
Yeah.
politics, and they go
Yes.
and do something else.
yes, that's right. Probably
Whereas
it's in
That's a
their
little
blood.
different.
Mhm.
That's
Probably it's in their blood to
yeah.
to serve the people.
Yeah. Because let's see, because everybody's excited,
Yeah.
because they're saying, oh, this is Bongbong Marcos, so the son of the most brilliant president of the Philippines. Let's
Yeah.
see if he is running the same with his father. So we never know. We never know.
There's a
Of
lot of
course.
curiosity.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. Every individual they have their own opinion.
Yeah.
Oh
about the
yes,
candidate,
which is
so-
what a lot of social media is.
Yes,
is
that's right.
That's why there's so much conversation, because everyone
Yeah.
in any election in any country in the world.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's
Well,
really
have-
funny because they keep on debating. Like, it seems like all those people are debating about, no, this is the best president. No, this one. So
And they haven't even
you know.
started campaigning yet.
Not yet,
yeah.
not yet. Supposedly it's
so-
not official
Yeah.
yet to
Yeah.
campaign.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But they have their caravans already going to other,
Yeah.
Well, thank you both so much for coming in and talking to me today. We're January now. The election's not till May.
Yes.
So I'll probably check in a couple of months, and as the campaign actually starts, as we
Yeah.
see things happening, and we'll just check in and see how things are going.
Okay, thank you
Okay.
very much for having us, Rain.
And
Thank
thank you all for joining us today.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you very
you.
much.
Thank you.